Brian.
So mean to
So,
me.
I am known to be a loudmouth, and I have never needed a microphone at any point in time in this church. You guys might, so there's one right there. Y'all can pass it around. Plenty of length. Or you could be a man.
Oh, man.
Whichever.
Oh, that gauntlet's laid down.
I mean, just saying.
I don't know why he looked straight at me.
Who's the soft talker? Anybody a soft talker over here?
No.
Baby talker.
So,
Be Griffin.
you're not tall enough for this ride. What are you doing?
Hide behind Brian.
So it was funny. I asked these guys to come and join a panel on fatherhood where we were going to talk about faith and fathers. And every one of them are cowards and we're like, I need a list. I need to know the questions. Except for Art, to his defense. But that's just because he's absent-minded and he didn't think about it after I did. But everybody else was, I need the questions. And then I send the questions. Two of these guys replied the exact same thing. And it was, holy crap. Guess.
Both sides for how long it was, not the questions.
I believe you had an actual PS on to what Brian said.
I did.
Holy crap, I'm going to cry a lot all day. And my kids are going to be there. So, let's get on with it. I won't make everyone answer all these questions or we will be here all day. And I won't ask all of the ones I sent you. That was just to screw with you. But,
It worked.
I know, right? Griffin, in one sentence, what's fatherhood taught you about God?
Forgiveness.
Oh,
He just nailed it down to one word.
he's a man of few words. He came from my loins. Something didn't transfer. Art, what's one word you would use to describe your parenting journey so far and why?
Blessing.
Absolutely.
There was a why. It wasn't a one word. It was a why.
I added the why.
I got really nervous when Trace was like 20 months old and McKenna had just been born. I'm like, I feel like I'm missing the best time. You know, that I can't mentally catalog it. And I can tell you, for any of those that haven't been parents for 17 years, every age is a blessing.
Yep.
And so that's been awesome.
With the caveat of a couple that I could have done without, but I agree. Brian, what's something your children would say that you are really good at as a dad?
Probably providing, I would say. What do you think, guys? Yeah, maybe.
That's cheating. You can't call a friend. What's one thing you think they think you need work on?
Definitely patience.
Yes.
Amen. Justin, what aspect of your faith most influences the way you parent?
You get the tough one.
I know.
I know that God is always there and present when I speak to Him. So when my kids try to talk to me, I try to be 100% present. I turn the TV off, or I put my phone away, or I ignore what else is going on in the world, and I devote 100% of my attention to what they need me to hear.
Good answer. Griffin, when you think about the kind of father you want to be, what qualities of God do you try to bestow onto your children? What part of God's character do you try to live up to in the way you parent?
Do I try to bestow on my kids, or do I try to
What do you want your kids to see in you that reminds them of God? Let's put it a different way.
understanding and just that I'm there at all times to be able to listen and be there.
All right, 17-year-old dad.
I had a good answer to the last one, by the way. I'm a little nervous about it.
What have your children taught you about God?
So, and this is probably where I'll cry. I feel like I'm a little bit in a faith desert right now. We've dealt with some church politics, if you will, over a little bit.
Been there.
No fun.
Nope. And
They're outlawed here, by the way.
good,
We don't allow
good. There's no church politics here.
none. None.
To watch my daughter go find it where she needed it, maybe if I couldn't provide it.
Yeah.
To watch her go to house church from Grace Snellville, to watch my son approach FCA to be a leader, and to watch McKenna, they were both leaders and stuff. So I mean, just watching how important their faith was, and not, I'm always self-deprecating. I don't know that it was because they weren't getting it or whatever, but they were seeking it out better than I could do, or better than I was doing.
Yeah.
And I loved it. My daughter saying, "Hey, I'm reading this Bible verse. I'm reading this chapter a while before I go to sleep." At night. And I'm like, "Oh God!" I remember I've been there, just not there right now.
Yeah. So what was your good answer to the question I gave
Unconditional
Griffin?
love.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unconditional love. It's you're gonna screw up, I'm still gonna love you. You may not like the consequences, but I'm still gonna love you.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna love
I was
you
gonna say
while
the
I
same
whoop your
thing.
tail.
Right?
How has becoming a father helped you understand God's love, Justin?
Ugh. That's a tough one. I don't really know how to answer that. How does it help me understand God's love? Recently, I've inherited 2 daughters, and what that's taught me is that it's okay to start from zero. I know when God accepted me, He started with dumpster fire.
Yeah.
So
You too.
All those.
You too.
That was yesterday, by the way.
it was Friday afternoon. What that's taught me is that it's okay to start from zero. That zero is not a bad place because you have a good place to build a foundation. You have a good place to build up to a relationship, a solid relationship. But having to start at zero with Daniela and Maylene has been a blessing because it has really helped me learn how to communicate with other people too. But it's also been very difficult because they've spent their entire lives without having a dad. And it's been challenging. It has been very challenging.
Brian, has parenting ever exposed areas of your faith that aren't as mature as you thought they were?
Yeah. The patient part. Yeah.
The patience part.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't explain. I mean, that's plain. So.
Yeah.
I am baby stepping towards the patience. I'm getting there.
Yeah. Oh.
Now that they're out of the house.
I'm gonna get there one day, guys. You have kids of your own, and you're retired. So, Art, when have you felt most inadequate as a father, and how did your faith help you through it?
Day one.
That's when you felt the most inadequate?
Every single day.
Yeah.
I mean, I would, if any of y'all think y'all are expert fathers and, y'all are wrong.
Yeah.
Y'all, I mean, there's no manual for it. And I screw it up all the time. In fact, I've done 5 sermons in my life. The first one was one you're like knock it out of the park. I called it epic fail. Mm-hmm. And I was like, the whole Bible's written about failures.
Yeah. You're gonna like today's message.
The village idiots or whatever. The people just screwed it up. Those are the main characters, and I stood up on that stage and said how I fail as a Christian, how I fail as a father, and as a husband daily.
Yep.
And so I think, you just got to give it up to God, and God doesn't give you anything. It's something too big that you can't handle.
Justin, what's a mistake that you've made as a dad that God used to teach you something important?
Going back to being present, you talked about being in a spiritual desert. When I went through my divorce, I was. What's worse than a dumpster fire?
The shed in my backyard.
The shed in his backyard that I lived in.
He lived in the shed in my backyard for a year.
That's not an exaggeration.
It was a nice shed.
It was a big.
It was a nice shed, but it was still a shed.
Big.
Yeah.
He was welcome in the house. That was his choice.
We don't want to get into that one. But unfortunately, because I was such a mess, Olivia got caught in that crap storm. And I really had to pretend that I was okay for a long time, just for my own sanity, and so I could build up the mental capacity to take care of my kid.
Griffin, how do you handle guilt when you feel like you've fallen short as a dad?
Typically phone a friend. You're that friend.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I know I'm gonna fall short, but I get humbled by a lot of people around me with more experience.
Oh, Brian, what's one thing your dad taught you that's helped your faith, parenting, or both?
Well, my dad wasn't very spiritual,
Mm-hmm.
but he was an unbelievable provider. So I tried to model after him. He raised 2 kids in the 70s by himself, which was unheard of at that time.
Yeah.
When my parents got divorced, he took us in and he raised us, and I thought he did an unbelievable job.
Been saving this one for Griffin, so I'm gonna skip out of order. What's one thing your dad didn't do properly that failed to equip you as a father?
I'm gonna be honest. I mean, me and Bailey put you through the ringer.
Not
A
Bailey.
lot. I can't be here all day, but it didn't fail to equip me. It more showed me some of what to do and a lot of what not to do.
Amen to that. Justin, who's someone not in your family that helped to father you?
My Uncle Bud.
Not in your family. Whatever. It's fine.
Well, he didn't.
Go
live,
ahead.
He didn't live in the house.
He was just the guy we called Uncle
not
Bud.
really
He was
even an
he was the
uncle.
homeless
He's
guy
talking
on the
about
corner. He lived in a shed.
You guys make fun of me.
Yeah, we do.
We did.
But I really learned a lot. My dad was an absentee dad, so there wasn't a lot of time that we spent together. But when I used to spend summers on my uncle's farm, and I really learned what a man should be and what a dad should be from him. Honest, hardworking, present. When I say that I turned off the TV to listen to kids, that's what he did with me. I learned a lot from him. He was everything a dad and a man should be. He was mentally, physically, morally tough. He was capable. He was a superhero in my eyes because he could do anything. He could fix tractors. He could hunt deer. He could do everything that my dad couldn't show me. So that's when I think of a dad, a good dad. That's like the highest moral standing that a man can get to is what my Uncle Bud was.
Art, if you could go back to 17 years ago, your young self getting ready to be a dad, what advice would you give you? He said run, he just said it low.
No, I was made to be a dad. I love it. I think obviously more patience. I've never had before kids. I didn't have patience. So now I have less patience. And then the fact that my wife and I can spit out two human beings that are entirely opposite. And require completely different parenting skills and different levels of patience, and just get ready for the ride. I think that it's going to be awesome. I really can't complain. I was blessed with two wonderful children. Had the best dad on the planet. So I just wanted to be that guy, be my dad.
This one's for everybody. Wasn't on the list, but hearing you talk made me think of it. What's the most creative punishment you ever gave to one of your children?
Kid jail.
Kid jail?
She's here, so I'm not. She had to stay in her room. I think I let you leave the room to take a shower and pick up trash in the neighborhood. All her meals.
Slid a pancake under the door every now and again.
No, the door stayed open. And I gave her, the food that I gave her was on a paper plate with no seasoning. And
That's harsh.
the door was open in her room, so I was still in the den watching TV with the TV extra loud so she could hear it but not see it. We did kid jail one time.
That's how you know it's a successful punishment.
I want to go back to the father figure.
Okay, I'll come back then.
Yeah.
Most creative punishment. You've got Arya. I know you've got one.
I get the point across without having to get too creative, but there's still plenty of time.
What you got?
Nothing super creative. I mean, you try to find what hurts in some way, shape, or form. So you taking away phone is obviously the easiest one. But I got to tell you, my dad made me transcribe the Book of John. I forgot what I did, but I had to write. I had to sit there. I couldn't come out of my room until I'd written the whole Book of John.
That's a good one.
I mean, that's pretty good. So this young man, most creative punishment. We did lots of creative punishing in our house because they were two very opposites. That's what triggered it. We were a spanking household. Whatever you think about that, I don't care. But he didn't care. He'd take a whooping and then walk away and do it again. He didn't give a crap. So I had to get really creative with him. So we did calisthenics timeout, where I would fill a glass with water and sit him in the middle of the den, and he had to hold it out there like this. And for every drop of water that hit the carpet, he got 5 more minutes. I have never seen a more intense look on that boy's face. All right, go back to yours.
Oh, yeah. Well, it reminded me of the father figure. So my father-in-law, Al Jackson, unbelievable father figure to me. I just want to let y'all know that. He was an awesome man. But I remember him telling me a story about he had a son, Junior. He busted him smoking. Mm-hmm. And he sat there and made that kid smoke 2 packs of cigarettes until he.
That was back in the day when they were unfiltered.
So I was like, man, kudos to you. Huh?
Did he puke?
Yeah.
Oh,
He said he puked for a week.
And got cancer.
Right. He still smokes to this day. Right?
It was such an effective punishment.
Okay, yeah.
It was great. Oh my God. Oh. Oh. Art, how do you help your children develop their own faith instead of just borrowing yours?
I went through college. I was a goody two shoes up until my sophomore year, and I hung out with the Bible beaters, and then I went 180 degrees the other way. And they all discarded me and said I was going to hell and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, you just believe what your parents believe. You've never once challenged your beliefs at all. And so I went through that period of that. And I don't think I've ever, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, told me y'all had to believe anything. we live our faith and we live hopefully by example. But we've never once said, that you got to follow our way. I think to be a stronger Christian, you've got to chart your own path.
What's one thing you hope your children remember about your faith when they're adults? Any of you?
That it's okay to get through a desert.
It's okay to screw up.
Yeah.
What we see is that Christians aren't supposed to be good. They're just supposed to be saved. I'm not supposed to be perfect. I just have to try again. A couple years ago, Olivia asked me if Jesus is the standard that you're trying to get to, if his behavior in his life is what you want to attain. You're never going to reach that, right? So why bother? I didn't have an answer for that. I really didn't. Do you remember what I said? Because I really just was at a loss for how to respond to that. Like, why bother trying? I think I came up with some half answer because it makes me a better dad, it makes me a better friend, it makes me a better neighbor, it makes me a better coworker. I really didn't have a good answer, but I still don't.
My answer would be, you want me to try to be like him because you wouldn't like me when I didn't.
Yeah.
That's awesome, yeah.
Well, the other thing I was going to continue on the desert part. Have y'all heard "Even If" by Mercy Me? Sit on the stage night after night, telling everybody's going to be all right, but tonight I just can't.
Yeah.
And you wonder about how these preachers, they get up on stage, and it's, honestly, I didn't want to stand up here and lead where y'all. Not I want to lead worship, but then, like, are they going to judge me because I'm going to stand up there and tell them I'm struggling right now? And we all. I mean, I think we probably all are in our own ways. But so that's there's going to be highs and lows.
Let's lighten it a little bit so Art can get over crying. Romeo's crying again. What's a unexpected theological question your kid has asked you? Anybody? I have a good one if you don't have one.
Both the kids asked me about dinosaurs and early man. I don't, so y'all probably don't remember that. But so I didn't know what to say there. I was like, you need to ask Woody that.
Shortly after we came to Sozo, we were in Bible study, and Bailey was over there sitting next to a guy named Lon Cotton. If you guys have been around a long time, you remember Lon. Lon's a great guy, but he is just like monotone at all times, unless he's unruly. Those are his two settings. And so he's sitting over there and he's trying to concentrate. And something came up about circumcision. And so my daughter turns to Lon and goes, "What's circumcision?"
Nowhere.
And Lon didn't even look at her. He just said, "Ask your father." Griffin, what's the funniest prayer you've ever heard from one of your kids?
Well, Sadie's pretty solid when it comes to prayer. Ari is basically, I want something.
Sounds like my prayer life.
I remember Jackson when he was racing motorcycles. He was about 8 years old. And at that time, all the dads get behind when they're about to start.
Yeah.
Or holding up the bikes for them because they're too small to be riding these big motorcycles. And I'm sitting there praying that he's going to be okay, safety and everything. And I guess with all the revving, all the engines, you could hear Jackson say, "Please, Lord, let me win this race, please, Lord."
When Olivia was probably about 4, she was obsessed with us dying, me and Amy. She was literally scared to death that we were just going to just keel over and die, or a car accident, or meteor, or whatever. And
Worded that poorly.
so, unsolicited, I walked by her room, and she is laying in her bed, earnestly talking to God, be like, God, don't let my mom and dad die in a car accident, or a meteor, or a space shuttle explosion, or I just rattled off like everything a kid brain can come up with a way to die.
Dragons.
Dragons.
Have your kids ever used your parenting advice against you?
All the
Yes.
time.
Give me an example.
I can't think of an example because it hasn't happened in a week or two.
Anything in regards to lying?
Yes. I wouldn't lie to you, baby. What about Santa Claus? What about the Easter Bunny?
Oh, man.
The Tooth Fairy? What about all those, Dad? You say you never lied. What about the Tooth Fairy? I know that's Mom.
So
Theoretically.
So Trace, the guitarist, is like, I hate to even say this, but he's so daggum smart. I don't know what it is, but I mean, half the time he has me thinking, like, crap, maybe I'm wrong.
But I won't admit it.
I will. You didn't hear that. I'm just like, crap. You know, I was like, he's got a real point. But I remember, my dad ruled with an iron fist, and I remember winning arguments but losing. You know, I was like, I had him dead to rights, and it didn't matter. He was my dad, and that was it.
Because I said so.
Because I said so, or I got whooped. You know, so it didn't matter if I won the argument. I lost.
Last two questions I need from everybody. When your children describe your faith years from now, what do you hope they say?
That I love the Lord with all my heart.
That he really tried.
Years from now, I hope they say he got better.
Yeah, I think the same thing. I mean, you know, he was a good and faithful servant, and didn't always get it right, but he tried. You know,
Yeah.
and that was the goal, and he always shot for the goal.
And lastly, if your children were in the room right now, and many are, what's one thing you want them to know about your love for them, and one thing you'd want them to know about God's love for them?
Unconditional. No matter how much you mess up, I'll love you the same. And may not seem like it in the moment, but I do, no matter what.
100%.
I love you, and I love being your dad, but I'm not always happy about it.
That's fair.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I mean, if I elaborate too much, I'll cry more.
Do it.
Well, I know. I mean, you just, as I said when we started worship, I was like, you know, you're a Christian before your dad, but then you just figure out, like, this is what, you know, God was going through when Jesus was dying on the cross, you know, watching that sacrifice, you know, you always kind of, golly, I mean, it just hits different. And it's painful. It's all the emotions. You know, you're so proud, you're so disappointed, you're so loved, you're so upset, you're hurt. You know, all these different things. But you know, all of that is all coming from a place of love. And I think that being a earthly father helps me understand the unconditional love my heavenly Father has for me.
Yeah, I've always said that being a dad was the absolute most brutal, horrible, awful, challenging thing I've ever done in my life, and I'd do it again.
100 times over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. Everybody give them an applause. So, out of all the answers these guys gave, one thing I didn't hear was, I've got it all figured out. Because none of them do. My kids are out of the house, and my son has 3 kids of his own. He's already outdone me. I still don't have it all figured out. And the beauty of that is, that's the story of Scripture. Like Art pointed out, like it's just a bunch of knuckleheads in Scripture, every one of them. When we look back to like the father of the faith, you go all the way back to Abraham in Genesis. That guy was an idiot. And he brought baggage with him into his relationship with God. He's called the father of Judaism, but at the same time, like he was pulled out of a pagan culture. And so he brought baggage with him that he had to work through. And he wasn't the perfect father. I mean, the guy tried to pass his wife off as a sister twice. He wasn't great. Many times God gave him instructions, and we remember the good ones, right? Like, come and I'll show you the land to go to. And oh, he's so faithful. Look at him. He just goes. And then we forget all the times God said, hey, don't go to Egypt, or don't do this, or hey, do this. And he just did the opposite because he's an idiot. And so he finally ends up trying to usurp God, who told him he would give him a son. And so he creates another son through odd means. And then kicks that kid out into the desert with his mother. Not great. If you're looking for like Father of the Year, Abraham doesn't make the mark. And then his son Isaac. He becomes the covenant bearer. He carries forth what God's doing in the Old Testament. And then that guy shows favoritism to one of his sons, and he's kind of aloof, and he's getting old, and they can blame it on blindness. I think I could tell my kids apart even if I had my eyes shut, but apparently he couldn't. I mean, he was just kind of there doing his thing and caused his whole family to rip in half because he was unattentive. And then we get Jacob. I mean, what do you say about Jacob? I mean, the guy picked a fight with God. I mean, he ends up being the same kind of like grippy, attachy father that his father was. He favors one son over the other, and then he loses that son, and so what does he do? He learns his lesson, so he picks the next one that's his favorite. I mean, it's just over and over and over again we see this where fathers are failing and they're failing and they're failing and they're failing. And the good news is, like Justin brought up, we're trying to reach a standard we're never going to reach. All we're trying to do, in the best case, is fail forward. I brought baggage into my family. I brought stuff in from my relationship with my father. My only goal was to pass less baggage onto my kid. And as he said, I passed plenty. But it's less than I had. And I hope he passes less baggage onto his kids. Because the only thing we can do as fathers and succeed at well, if you're trying to be the perfect dad, you're not going to be. But you can introduce them to the one who is. That's all we've got. You're never going to live up to the standard. You're never going to be the guy you want to be. But you can fail forward. You can pass on less wounds. You can pass on less baggage and less trauma. And as we continue doing that, it's cycle after cycle, when we break these generational curses by being the best dad we can, eventually we get to a place where we've done our best and we've introduced them to the Father who is the best. And through that, he can heal all of it. That's what being a dad is. Taking a part, taking a role in failing forward as best we can every day. I hope that you guys leave here encouraged by that. That the guys that sat on this panel this morning, and we can cut up and we can laugh, but there's serious stuff that we dealt with on this stage. Like heart-wrenching stuff that every guy here I've walked with at some point in my life and experienced something with, that I can tell you they struggled and they hurt and they tried to push through and they tried to fail forward the best they could. And that's the encouragement, especially for the young dads in the room. That's your goal. To pass on less crap than what you had. Scripture says in Matthew 7, if you being evil, so God knows you're not good at this. If you being evil want to give good gifts to your children, how much more will he give them? That's what we do. We raise our hand and we say we fail, but there's the one that doesn't. That's fatherhood.